Hi everybody, Ben here from Art Less Ordinary again. So, I'm going to do another one of my swipes using my, I'm going to call it repelling tape. It's virtually just painter's tape, but I put that here so then the paint with the silicone in it doesn't go in this area. So then when I do my swipe, it doesn't get in the way. Because when you have silicone that gets underneath your swipe color, it ends up bringing up cells when I want this to be solid. Last time I did it at the top, this time I'm going to do it in the middle. I have thickened my paints up a little bit compared to last time, and I've left the turquoise out. But in saying that, I tried using a different blue, which was tropical teal. But this is thin as well, not as thin as the turquoise, but it's still thinner than I would have preferred it to be. So I'm going to put that at the bottom, not close to the swipe area. I'm hoping that will just let it not interact as badly as the last painting was cool, but it interacted a little bit differently. So yeah, just it's still cool, but it just wasn't what I planned. So I have Eraldo de Paulo Tropical Teal, which is limited edition. So when these limited edition ones come out and they disappear, I can't get that colour again. So I often use them a little bit more sparingly. I have Coral, which is a really nice peachy colour. So I use this instead of an orange because the orange is a bit different as well. Then I have Cool Red. I have white, and my swipe colour is going to be Harbour Night again. So I have put silicone, Elmers silicone oil in the coral, the white, the tropical teal, and the cool red, but not the Harbour Night. I've left it out of the Harbour Night. So make sure there's no dust settling. So I put 3 drops in each, and each cup has 40 grams paint and 50 grams pouring medium. So it's 1 to 1.25. And my pouring medium is Elmer's clear glue 70%, water 30% mixture. So I was hoping to keep everything a little bit thicker this time by making it 1 1/4, not 1 1/2. But it's not always easy to get every paint the right consistency. This red feels a little bit thicker than the others, but again, it's not the end of the world. The red probably feels closer to a flip cup consistency than it does to a swipe consistency, but I'm just going to see how it goes. And this one is my thinnest colour, this tropical teal. The white and the coral probably seem to be quite a good consistency. The Harbour Night, the swipe colour, I did actually make that one a little bit more thinner because it's a swipe colour, but it's not a lot thinner. It's probably similar to the consistency of the tropical teal. I was trying to decide whether I should just swipe with the tropical teal, seeing it was thinner, but I'd already mixed up the Harbour Night and that was thin too, so I thought, oh well, too bad. I'll just go with my plan. But yeah, this should look quite cool. So, what order am I going to go in? Maybe that order. So, this is going to be probably a little bit different, swiping from the middle. So it's just a matter of actually putting the paint on. And couple of stripes. A good idea is to make sure it goes on the edges. As well. I don't really want to tilt this a lot, so I'm trying to keep the colours in their area. You can see this is thick by how it's holding its place quite well. If it turns out too thick, it's not the end of the world. Just sometimes you just got to keep adjusting things a little bit till you get exactly your consistency you're happy with. As normal, sometimes one's too thin, one's too thick. Then you got to get what I call the Goldilocks moment, where you get paint just right. Alrighty. And it doesn't have to be perfect lines. I am just trying to keep it in a relative lined pattern. Use my stick, make sure the sides are covered. Yeah. And see how I've got a bit of a thicker parts and thinner parts? That's absolutely fine. It's a swipe. So you can quite easily have thicker parts and thinner parts. It will just slightly mean that you might get a little bit more of that colour in that area, but being a swipe, that's actually quite good because you want it to be not completely uniform. Okay, now for the white. Over the edges. Cover my sides. So like normal, just go with the flow. If you stress too much about things, you're not having fun. When, you know what, this art is about actually enjoying yourself. So don't always worry too much about it's got to be perfect this, it's got to be perfect that. Yeah, it's nice, but unless you're actually making art because you're trying to be a famous artist that makes money and everything, when it's not that easy to make money being an artist. Most people do it for fun, and that's why you just take it as it goes. If you have a bad paint day and it doesn't turn out, oh well, tomorrow's another day. You all just have to enjoy what we do. Yeah, cheap paint isn't cheap, but at the same point in time, it's probably cheaper than some other hobbies we may have, or could have. So with this, I'm just going to slightly rub the blue on the edge. It doesn't have to be a heavy coat, just enough in case the paint doesn't flow over the edge as easy, then at least you got something there. It's just another little tip I've learnt, because occasionally I've done a swipe and the paint didn't go over the edge as good as I wanted to, and I had a little bit of a bald spot there. So if you just get your stick or whatever you use, I can't see this side too well actually, and just rub it on there. It will more than likely get covered by paint, but it's just a precaution. One thing I've learnt in life, there's no harm in making precautions. There's nothing always goes the way you plan. Okay. Just about there. I know this might not be the most exciting part, but this is the part where I can actually explain things without having to think too much. Once I start thinking too much, I can lose my train of thought, and sometimes I don't say what I need to say. Only because I get distracted, or I'm too busy concentrating on what I'm doing that I can sometimes lose track of what I was saying or forget. Wonderful. So now that I've done that and I've covered everything, I actually don't have to tilt. There's a little gap there, no different. The paint's going to get pulled over. So see how my lines, they're a little bit all over the place, but that's fine because it will give you a different effect. Also, I have got a big enough swipe sheet that I can do the whole side at once. I don't like having join lines because cells pop up and then the joint, you use your card through it and it kind of pulls your cells and gives them odd shapes. So I am going to get some of the red paint, try and close up this gap. So it's a matter of taking this off. Now that's actually turned out pretty good. See how the paint's not really going into that area too well? That is precisely what you want it to do. Kind of sit there and leave that little barrier. Alrighty. Now get your swipe cleaning thing ready. Whatever you Now this color doesn't have silicone in it, so I don't really have to worry too much. Now it's just a matter of pouring it in. And it will spread itself out a little bit. Just going to make sure I've covered the sides as well. That's enough paint. Okay, so my sides are all covered. So now just put more paint in this area where it's a bit thinner. And it will fill in that gap. Perfect. Okay. So I know this thing can be long and a little bit, feels a bit long-winded, but I think explaining how I've done it, especially using that border. So by using that border, I'm not going to get any cells pop up in that middle section because there was none of the paint that had silicone in it encroaching in that spot. So I should have a nice clean center, which is precisely what you want. You could make that line thinner, thicker, whatever you prefer. So this is the harder part with the bigger sheet. Got to hold it the right way. So put it down, let it touch, and then drag across. I'm going to go slowly. And steady. Rub my excess off on the edge of the thing. Okay, now this is the challenging part because it likes to stick. Okay, that's wiped off pretty good. Now, I got to put this down for a second. I need to rotate this because I can't pull towards me. I mean, away from me. I have to pull towards me. Oh, come on. Okay. There we go. Nice and settled. Clean off my fingers. This is probably going to look quite good once I start torching in this area. Now, get my swipe thing and turn it around so I've got a nice clean side. I've got to hold it in the right spots. Place that down. Grab that blue. And then slowly pull towards me. Oh. Wipe off that excess. Try not to get paint on yourself, which I feel like I'm going to do right now. I've just got to wipe my card a bit. I'll take this to the kitchen sink later and give it a good proper clean off anyway. I just want to get off enough so it's not going to go all over the place. So because my paints are slightly thicker, the cells are going to have a little bit more challenge time coming to the surface. But I'd rather have challenging cells than ugly cells. Because I've done some of these that have given me ugly-ish cells, but I want some pretty cells this time. Alrighty. Light up my flame. And heat the paint. Without being crazy. So I hope I don't end up having too much of a blue line. I possibly could. Might have left the blue a little bit thick. When I mean a bit thick, I mean the line a little bit thick. Or the paint could have even been a little bit thick. Who knows? So I am getting cells. They are a little bit small. So I got a feeling my swipe colour was a little bit thick. Okay, so my swipe colour was a little bit thick. So I'm getting cells, but they're just having trouble pushing through the thickness of the dark blue. So that's why I'm getting them towards the end where it thinned out, because when you drag it, the dark blue kind of gets thinner and thinner as it pushes across the other colours. So I'm getting some down at the ends, but not so much in the middle band. But again, this is what experimenting is about. I'm learning each time I do it. I'm learning a little bit more and a little bit more. I needed to thicken up my paints last time, and this time I've thickened them up a little bit too much. So I just have to try it again. These cells are still growing a little bit, but I'm not going to get more in this middle section. I could possibly swipe it again and make it thinner by dragging more of the paint off, but I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it as it is. I'm just going to keep in my mind that next time I need to use paint that is a little bit thinner, and possibly see how wide. I probably got this at about an inch and a quarter. So it's probably about 4 centimeters, 3 to 4 centimeters for other countries. I will probably make that thinner. So instead of doing, I wasn't sure how much the red was going to sink in once I pulled the tape, and it didn't sink in at all. So I'm going to use only one piece of tape. I used 2 bits next to each other. I'll just use 1 piece of tape in the middle and keep that thinner. But it's working. And that is what I needed to learn. And this isn't actually too bad. It's quite blue and sparse, but at the same time, it actually does give you quite a bit of interest on either end. So, not a fail, just a learning experience. So, and that is what happens. A lot of these people that are masters at certain pouring techniques, they've done that one technique, or they only do that one technique, and that's why they become masters at it, and they look fantastic, and they do it because they go over and over and over until they get it right. And I do the same. I just put every video up, whether it's a fail or a pass. To be quite honest, that's the only way I'm going to learn, and the only way I can teach you guys is to learn from what I do right and what I do wrong. I don't think this is wrong. I just think this isn't as perfect as I wanted it to be. But in saying that, I really like the colours. I think it looks pretty cool. I may adjust my colours again next time. Try and do it a little bit differently. I liked the blue in the swipe, but I actually don't have much of that colour left, so I may have to pick a different colour. But let's bring you down for a close-up look. So there we are. Okay, that top end all looks wishy-washy just because of the light is shining on it. It's not bringing out the colours properly. So let's go down to this side. So see, we got relatively nice cells. Come on, video, be good. The cells are quite nice. We come across. Are they going to give me the right colours? Yeah, there we go. Again, the cells are quite nice. I did get closer with the torch because I was trying to get at more cells in the middle, but the middle just didn't want to give me any. But this is how it is. So it's actually quite a different piece. I would say unusual, but not ugly unusual, just different. So I hope you like this. I hope you learn something from this. That is my goal, is to help people learn, including myself. So I will say, I hope you had a good time. Subscribe, share, like, comment. Hope you enjoyed yourself, and I will see you tomorrow for another pour. Have a great night, everyone. Bye.